Ras Lanuf on Sunday, just east of Bin Jawad. They fired at military helicopters as they retreated following a counterattack by government forces. And in the capital, Tripoli, thousands gathered in support of Muammar Gaddafi. They're celebrating claims by the government that the rebels have been crushed and have fallen cities retaken. Well, the flood of people leaving Libya for neighbouring Tunisia appears for the moment to be subsiding, but numbers are still posing a challenge for aid agencies. Firas Kayal is the Public Information Officer for the UN refugee agency, the UNHCR. Speaking from Ras Ajdar on the Tunisian side of the border with Libya, he described the situation in their camp.
We are right now in UNHCR's camp, which is hosting right now between 12 to 15,000 persons. The majority of them are persons from Bangladesh, but there are other nationalities as well. These were the persons who have crossed the border from Libya into Tunisia in the past several days. In the past week, we've had more than 70,000 persons, mainly Egyptians. The total number of people who have crossed the border, by the way, is some 100,000 persons. Around 50,000 Egyptians have been evacuated back to their countries in the past several days. Now here the persons from Bangladesh, it's a bit more difficult with their case because the flights to Bangladesh are 8 hours, not just 2 hours to Egypt. But UNHCR and IOM are right now trying their best to arrange a chartered flight that will take these people back home.
Well, we're going to come back to Libya again in just a moment and speak with Tariq Youssef, who's the dean at the Dubai School of Government. But first, let's tell you about what's happening in Egypt at the moment. State television there reporting that Nabil El Arabi has been appointed the country's new foreign minister as part of a planned reshuffle. It comes as the new interior minister pledges to restore public confidence in the police. Protesters on Saturday stormed state security headquarters in Cairo and Alexandria. They said they were trying to stop evidence of torture and abuse being destroyed by police. For more on the story, we're joined now by Abdallah Al-Ashal, who's Professor of International Law at the American University in Cairo. Thanks for being with us, sir. It appears that while the revolution itself ended, 3 weeks ago now, the fallout continues.
Yes, I think the only critical element in the counter-revolution is the security forces, because the police had failed ethically and also it failed politically. And this is why you have deep crisis. I don't think that the security forces, which are the remnants of Mubarak military arm, would be sufficient enough or strong enough to quench the revolution. In this case, I think caution is very important. And all the accidents which are ensuing now are perpetrated by these elements who are now trying to regain their power and clout.
So you think that the revolution itself isn't over, that there is still a power struggle going on within Egypt?
No, not at all. The revolution is still continuing because we didn't achieve everything that we have been calling for. The revolution means the sense of being alert, and the people are ready to come to the streets, to take the streets at any moment, and they are very vigilant about that. We still have a list of demands. Now, of course, we achieved something, but the remaining, the most important thing which we didn't achieve till now, I think the security. So how can we get the police back to the streets and to the homes and to the schools? At the same time, we have thugs among them who are trying to threat the people and make some menaces everywhere. This is something.
What's it going to take to restore confidence in the police in Egypt?
I think we need the police, but not that police that we knew before. So this is a problematic element in the situation now. So the government has to tackle the problem very carefully and to make sure that the country cannot, in fact, be run without security. At the same time, we are not in need of thieves and thugs to come back to the streets. So how can we make this equation? I think this is very problematic, and the government has to take care of this in the future, in the very near future.
let me ask you on the political level what you make of the new appointments to cabinet, which is due to be sworn in tomorrow, Monday. We had the Interior Minister announced overnight, and then Nabil El Arabi, reported appointed as the country's new foreign minister. What do you make? Will that be enough to appease the protesters?
I think that Dr. Nabil Arabi is a career diplomat. He is very respected and reputable as well. He has international justice, judge in the International Court of Justice. And Nabil Arabi is very nationalistic. He has nationalistic feelings. And I think during this period, they're the best choice in the government.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for being with us. Abdullah Al-Ashal, a professor of international law at the American University of Cairo. Back then, as promised, to Libya. Let's discuss the developments today with Tariq Youssef, who's the Dean of the Dubai School of Government. Thanks for being with us once again. First of all, I want to ask you about those bizarre scenes that we've been seeing throughout the day on Libyan state television of celebrations on the streets of Tripoli. Celebrations over the end of the war, they were described as.
Clearly, celebrations where the big headline is disconnected from facts on the ground that are being reported both from Benghazi, from Misrata, from Zawiya, and from elsewhere. I think this is an important demonstration by Gaddafi and loyalists around him of the importance of not just fighting battlegrounds right now, but also fighting a psychological warfare, political warfare, sending a message to the people of Tripoli that are still in charge, loyalists around in the country that are still in charge, orchestrating and staging a lot of demonstrations with something that not only we should not be surprised to see, but something we're going to be seeing more and more of. So this is an important signal because the last 42 years of his rule have always been marked by these orchestrated, staged and forced shows of protest and demonstration.
We were talking earlier to one of our correspondents who'd witnessed the ongoing fighting today in that sort of the coastal, central coastal region in the east, or between the eastern border and Tripoli itself. It seems now that a target for the opposition is Sirte. Yeah. That's going to be a much tougher fight, and still they haven't experienced the full might of the Gaddafi military machine, have they?
Possibly. Again, presumed full might of Gaddafi's machine, but there should be no doubt that Sirte is a major stronghold, not only for political and military reasons, but also for tribal reasons. The Gaddafi tribe, the tribe from which he hails, is based in the Sirte, around the Sirte region. Sirte, in fact, has been developed in the last 10 years to emerge as the future capital of Libya politically. It's got significant military assets around it. It's got perhaps the most loyal fighters in it. That could very well be a very bloody fight, should it happen. But the fall of Sirte, in my view, could hasten and could accelerate the collapse of the regime in Tripoli, should that take place, because suddenly all the military commanders, political advisors around him will realize that the game is essentially over for them.
You talk about those being most loyal to him, those forces. Is that for tribal reasons?